This is John Bailey, the epic voice of Honest Trailers, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. It's a Fangirls podcast with five-ish people. The tangents and squee will continue. Squee.
The tangents and squee continue all the way to episode 379 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast, and today's meeting of the Hellfire Club shall now commence. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like a door from virtual table and see who joined us this week.
This is Annie Belvedere.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
We are going to be a bit more ish for the next few weeks as Chrissy is moving. So,
Yes. Congratulations on the new place, Chrissy.
yes, and not just moving, they bought a house.
Yes.
So that means trips to the bank and trips to the realtors and all the fun stuff, and dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and then moving all said stuff with two small
And
children
setting
in
up
tow.
setting up all the new utilities and all fun stuff.
Mhm. Exactly. So, Chrissy will join us once they get settled and have internet at their new place.
Yes.
Oh, but in the meantime, we do
Mhm.
have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Starting
We
with
do
some,
indeed.
starting with some news. So, Funko, the company that keeps on giving almost as badly as Big Finish,
No kidding. Yeah.
with their cranking out of products, as our listeners probably are aware if they listen to my Gen Con recaps, is there is a Funko Games division of the Funko company. I have played
Yeah.
some of their games at Gen Con. We've given away some Funko game related stuff on here. So they are going to be releasing a Funko game version. I don't know exactly how it was, assuming it's going to be similar to the film. Anyway, they're releasing a Goofy movie Funko game, which that in itself is exciting. However,
Yes.
because Gen Con is coming up in less than a month, Funko being Funko, they're like, well, we can't just release a Goofy movie Funko game. We have to give people the opportunity to have said game autographed by maybe some of the voices from the Goofy movie. So Saturday and Sunday of Gen Con, both Bill Farmer, who's been the voice of Goofy for a very long time, and Jason Marsden are going to be at Gen Con at the Funko booth signing autographs.
Nice.
Very nice.
There's also going to be a special VIP event Saturday night where they are specifically going to be signing copies of the game, and there's going to be screening of the Goofy movie, but that is already sold out. So I guess stay tuned in case they decide to expand it to a greater number than what they already sold ticket wise. But if you can't go to the VIP event, that is okay, because Bill and Jason will be in the vendor hall at Gen Con as well. So that is very cool. I am excited. So there is that. And then also Gen Con, the event catalog for Gen Con online is now available. So if you are not planning on attending Gen Con in person and are doing the online option, the event catalog and signups for that is now an option. Oh, it's crazy to think Gen Con is in like 3 weeks or something like that. Like, I'm not ready.
Yeah, because isn't it at the beginning of August?
Yep. Yep, having it delayed last year threw me off, and now it's back to when it normally is, and I'm like, I'm not ready. And then in TV related news, although I'm grossly behind, I haven't even started season 2 yet, but they have
It's
confirmed
good. It's good.
that Only Murders in the Building is going to be getting a season 3.
Woohoo! Yay!
I haven't started the show, but from what I've heard, it's really good, and I really need to sit down and watch it. Apparently,
Yeah. I mean, season 1 was really
phenomenal.
good, so I'm sure that season 2 will not disappoint. I just need to find time.
Yeah, so far so good, because my mom's like, when's it coming back? I was like, okay, the first 2 episodes dropped. It's like, okay, when do they come out? Every Tuesday. So I know tomorrow morning we're gonna be watching it. It's appointment TV in this house.
I've just been preoccupied with other things, so
yeah.
But it is up there. So yeah. Just know that however season 2 ends, it's coming back.
Yes. No takesy backsies.
Yes. So if it ends anything like season 1 did, we'll be, it'll be good to know that it will be coming back.
Back, exactly. Yes.
Yep. So there is that, and then in your feeds, in the podcasting feeds, the latest episode of Gold Standard, the Oscar podcast, is out there where we talk Chariots of Fire with returning guest Sean from Traveling Vortex and Flicks with Friends.
Nice. Yay.
So that was an interesting discussion.
I can imagine.
You say the least. So that is available wherever you find podcasts. All right. Moving on to feedback. Got some feedback from Shalane. Speaking of Jason Marsden, kind of. She says, I wasn't sure about Hocus Pocus 2, but after watching the trailer, I'm now excited for it. It's so sad the other OG actors aren't coming back, but maybe we'll get a little cameo. Yeah, that's always a possibility. Little somebody walking in the background somewhere and be like, hey, that's that person that did that thing. So yeah, unfortunately some of the familiar faces can't come back because both Gary and Penny Marshall are long gone. So but I'm sure we're also going to get some new faces as well that we're going to be like, oh, it's that person. Because that's always fun when you're watching something and you're like, oh, it's that person.
Yep. Going back to something that you've seen before, but got introduced to other people's sense, like, oh, hey, he was in this.
Yep. So and she says the revamp of Splash Mountain, she says it still looks a lot like Splash Mountain. Yeah, I mean, like I said, think they're going to keep the general structure, so like the flow, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended,
Mm-hmm.
the literal and figurative flow of the ride is going to stay the same. It is just the set decorations that are going to change. Obviously, things like the soundtrack are going to change. But as Disney is wont to do, they do like when a attraction replaces another one, whether it's a redressing or sometimes a complete tear down and building something new. They like to put homages to what was there previously. So I'd imagine that, like Brer Fox or Brer Bear or Brer Rabbit is probably like going to appear in a scene somewhere, in the background and be like, oh, look, there's, so and so. So I fully expect there to be nods to the original attraction. And yes, the picture will probably still be on the big drop. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So people know where they know where the picture is. It's a thrilling moment at the attraction. People like to do things to, funny faces and the like. So yeah, I'd imagine they're going to keep the picture there just because. Why not? So, and then talking about our names we pulled out of the hat in the last episode, and the things that she has seen. As far as Gwyneth Paltrow and Dick Van Dyke, she's pretty much on the same checklist as us. And although she says she still needs to watch the Dick Van Dyke Show. Yes, you do. You need to watch the Dick Van Dyke Show because it was awesome.
Yes.
And she says the theater that she's working at this summer, they have an actor playing Bert in Mary Poppins, and he does sound like Dick Van Dyke.
Very cool.
That's cool. So, and then she also mentions how Dick Van Dyke came to Salt Lake Comic Con in the past, but she didn't get to go because she was busy with school. So that's a shame that you missed out. But at least you could say Dick Van Dyke has been to your city. So that is cool. Thank you, Shalane, for your feedback. All right, sound the spoiler alarm. Or should we say spoiler grandfather clock?
Yeah.
The alarm sounds more like a grandfather clock.
Yeah.
That's a warning of a different kind.
Design. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Cue the Kate Bush.
Yeah, because we are headed back to the upside down. And Hawkins.
And I think we've added more.
And California. And Russia.
And Russia.
Yeah.
And make sure you try the pineapple on that pizza.
Yeah. I totally buy that Argyle is the person that invented pineapple on pizza. And I'm here for it.
You know what? Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I am here. I am
that.
totally here for it, though, because I am one of those people that, yes, pineapple does work on pizza. Oh, it doesn't work necessarily on all pizzas.
All pizzas, yes.
But in certain combinations, it totally
yes.
works.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah.
Right now, a certain Hawaii Five-0 character is just twitching away badly.
Yeah. Yeah. So season 4 Stranger Things is here. All the parts are now available for streaming on the Netflix. In all of its 5 bazillion hours of the runtime.
But so good. But so good. So
yeah.
good.
Yes.
Yeah. So good.
I have to say, out of all the seasons, this one, I have to say, my fave.
Yeah. Well, and I think this is closest to season 1.
Yeah.
We spent seasons 2 and 3 introducing some new characters, still filling in some backstory. Obviously, we learn more about 11 and her backstory with some of the other kids when she goes off to Chicago.
That's right.
To meet some other kids that have abilities similar to her. But at the end of the day, everything always ends up going back to Hawkins. It's about Hawkins, the people of Hawkins, whether they're their family, friends, co-workers, whatever. Hawkins is the epicenter of everything. And with this season, our core group, which has gotten a lot bigger since we started with season 1.
Yeah.
So to in a way, I think it makes sense to have them split up to kind of have these 3 storylines that are running parallel to each other. And the ultimate goal is to get back to Hawkins for everybody. And that's where we do end up by the end of the season. But if just everybody was in Hawkins for the entire season, I think it would get a little crazy.
Crowded.
So big, a little crowded. So getting the chance to go off to these other places is a nice change of pace, but still has the flavor of when the series first started.
Yes.
So obviously, after everything that happened at the end of last season, we know that the Byers family, along with 11, took off to California, and they're,
for better or worse, surviving.
For better or worse, they are living there in California. Joyce is selling encyclopedias via the telephone.
How am I a robot?
Will seems to be integrating better into the new school. 11, not so much. She's without her powers. She's now thousands of miles away from the only home she ever knew, and stuff sucks. To put it mildly. So it'll be interesting to see if they ever go back to California, or if everything that happened there is just kind of like, it is what it is.
Right.
I can't think of why they would, so
yeah. I mean, not unless when everything comes to head in the final season that everyone decides they need a fresh start,
Yeah.
Depending on who's still standing by the end of it all.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or even if Hawkins is still standing by the end of the fight.
It's shaky right now.
We might not have a choice.
Standing right now.
Right. I mean, we might end up with a Buffy the Vampire Slayer ending where Sunnydale is no longer. There's just this great big hole in the ground. It might be the same for Hawkins.
Oh, it's halfway there now.
True. Yeah.
It is looking a little. It is looking a little hellmouthy. Yes.
Yeah.
Through most of Hawkins at the moment. So.
Yeah.
So it may not be a matter of choice, but that remains to be seen. So poor Elle is struggling. I mean, she's always struggled because of the circumstances that she grew up in. She grew up in this lab, isolated. Yes, she had other kids to play with. So she learned how to socialize. I'm doing air quotes here, but as we see in this with the flashbacks, I mean, these kids, obviously Elle was young when we first meet her, but there were kids even younger than her
Right.
at the lab. And then there were some that were older than her, going into teenagers. So we got a wide range of ages for these kids, but they're kids, but they're essentially lab rats.
Oh, yeah.
And are really being treated as such by Papa. As much as he tries to act like he's this like benevolent, caring father figure, it's crap is what it is.
Yeah.
I just when we got the last 2 episodes, and the second to last episode is called Papa. And I was like, okay, are they going to try to make him sympathetic here? And
if they are, I'm not going to buy it. Nope.
If they did, if that's what they were going for, it didn't work.
Nope.
I can see, honestly, where they were trying to, but I was like, no.
I don't know. I don't know if necessarily that's what they were going for. I think maybe they were not necessarily going for sympathy, but maybe just context.
That could be.
Yeah. But we still don't know how did he end up here is the thing.
Right.
It's like we get some backstory from the time, like we obviously we end up finding out that his very first test subject was this kid who had killed his family, or at least his sister and mother, and sent his ended up his father getting arrested and tried and convicted for the murders, even though he keeps claiming his innocence. And by the way, casting Robert Englund, genius.
Perfect.
Perfect. It's like, I wonder how many people do not realize who he was.
That we would. As soon as I heard the voice, it sounded like, oh, brilliant. Nice. Yeah.
I was like, you would think after, however many years it's been since we got the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie, almost 40-ish years, that people know Robert Englund's name, but they still may not know his face.
Yeah. Exactly, because he's all that makeup. Just like when he guest starred in the one episode of Supernatural. It was Appointment in Samara, where Dean was trying to make a deal for Sammy's soul. Or whatever it was. Yep.
Yeah, so he's one of those where it's like, you probably know the name, the role, but you still may not necessarily know his face. So, but I knew who it was, and I'm like, it's Freddy.
I was like, that was just brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Oh, and they used him, I think, just the right amount too.
Yes, not too much.
You could have easily gone a bit too leaning into the fact that he's kind of this legend in the horror genre,
right?
But instead, he's not the protagonist. He's not the antagonist. He's a victim, just like a lot of the other people in this particular plot line. So but yeah, I think it was still cool.
Yes.
Like plus it also gave it a bit of a Silence of the Lambs feel to it as well, with Nancy and Robin going to speak to the sky. Unlike Hannibal Lecter, though, who was like, I did it. And I will do it again.
I'm innocent, I tell you. I'm innocent.
Yes. This guy was truly innocent and was just
innocent,
a very unfortunate victim of his crazy son.
And Nancy, for Robin's sake, needs to update her shoe collection for less heels. You cannot run in heels. You may try, but it's not gonna work.
But it's the 80s. The women hadn't figured it out yet.
True, that's true.
I mean, Bryce Dallas Howard is just now figuring it out in the Jurassic World franchise. So yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's a work in progress.
Yes.
At least they kicked them off before they.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And how many were wishing Angela would have become a victim of Vecna?
See, the thing is it seems to be that Vecna, who's our big bad, and seems to be the big bad.
Big bad, yes.
Is the people that he feeds on, other than his first victims, which were his mother and his sister, that he seems to feed on people who carry some form of guilt on their conscience. I don't think she feels guilty.
I know, but still, couldn't happen to a nicer, meaner person,
Yeah. So I know there's some people that have kind of have been very hesitant about watching because of the bullying. That 11 ultimately suffers from. And kind of in a way, you see bullying in the form of Chrissy's hallucinations before she becomes a victim of Vecna.
Oh yeah.
The abuse that she suffered from her mother. So yeah, this is I mean, if you suffer from PTSD, or if you've ever been a victim of bullying, this season may be hard to watch. They even had to put a disclaimer at the very start of the very first episode, because it starts with Henry, who ultimately becomes Vecna, the aftermath of his killing all of the other kids at the Hawkins lab where 11 was, and unfortunately the season dropped not long after the incident in Texas, the shooting there. So yeah, the imagery is difficult, but the thing is, it's easy. It can be, you can just be like, oh, they're doing scary things and bloody things because this is the quote unquote horror genre. And yeah, in a way it is, but it's not the ridiculous, like the classic slasher films have kind of gotten to.
Right.
Like, for the longest time I avoided Friday the 13th and Halloween and the like.
Right.
But now they've gotten to the point where it's just like you can't really be scared because you can't take the kills and stuff seriously. Because it's so ridiculous. And yeah, obviously it's kind of hard to take this seriously because we, as far as we know, there are not psychopathic telekinetic kids out there running around that have been experimented on, and the upside down is not an actual thing that we know of. So there's a very fantastical horror elements tied to it, but the characters are so steeped in reality as far as their characteristics are concerned. You've got 11 who obviously suffers from trauma and a stunted development, being isolated the way she was. Her vocabulary is limited for someone her age. You see her struggle to find the words because she doesn't know. She misses out on social cues because her socialization was very skewed and very limited. Even her when it comes to food, she still just wants waffles. Granted, I can't blame her for that because I love waffles too. No. Waffles are amazing.
Yes.
But still, and then if I go someplace and breakfast is an option and there's waffles, I probably will go for them. So I'm not going to blame her a whole lot there.
No. And at least she had a teacher in California who was willing to work with her and realize what Angela did and kind of pulled her. And then, of course, Angela decides, okay, when she's alone, she's going to exact her revenge. So, I mean, at least we had a teacher who was cognizant that there was something going on.
Yeah. But unfortunately, there's only so much the teacher can do, even nowadays.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yep.
Bullies and bullying type situations where students are being isolated and picked on. The things are not easy. As far as like what teachers and those in school systems are allowed to do.
Yes.
Because of red tape and the like. So yeah, that's why I said it'd be interesting to see if we go back and whether the whole thing with Angela gets resolved or not. Will be interesting. But yeah, so you've got 11 in all of her things. You've got obviously Will we don't realize it, but he is suffering, at least until the end, that he has long-term effects from his abduction in the very first season. Because the focus is obviously mostly on 11, but then when they finally return to Hawkins, Will is like, no, Vecna's not dead. I can feel him, because there's still some residual there, which is a good thing, because then the gang can know that he's still alive and then try to prepare. But at the same time, it's like, that kind of sucks for Will. that all these years later he is still not clear of that. And I think I am guessing that going into season 5 it is going to be 11 and Will that are going to be like the two big players, I think. Going into it, and then obviously they're going to have a lot of support from the people around him. And that's the other thing I really enjoyed was even though we had these 3 separate plots going, like I said, pretty much parallel to each other in time, in universe, unlike what we see sometimes in TV shows and movies where people are separated, that sometimes group A will be doing something and group B doesn't realize that group A is doing that thing, and group B will end up doing something that ends up hindering what the other group is doing. But pretty much the entire time, every single group, what they decide what to do as far as their game plan is something that ultimately helps the others. So it's like, once Hopper gets rescued and they realize, just based on what limited information they have what's going on, they realize that the Demogorgons need to be destroyed because it's going to help the kids back in Hawkins. Instead of being like, oh, we need to get back to Hawkins to help the kids, they realize they can do more good staying there and doing what they can before trying to go back to Hawkins and help. Which I really appreciated that, because that drives me nuts when teams get like separated and they have no way of communicating each other, and then somebody decides to do something that ends up being like the worst thing you could do as far as helping the rest of your team.
And man, those radio walkie-talkies, man, they sure had some distance. I wish they made them.
Yeah, really.
Right? Well, they have Dustin to thank for that, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dustin, our genius with his genius girlfriend.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Good old Susie.
Nice little surprise that she popped back up again.
Yeah.
Well,
and I love Argyle. As soon
Family.
as Will figures out who they can have help, and then Will starts singing Never Ending Story, and I was like, love that movie. I love the song. That movie though, the Nothing. I'm just like, yeah, dude, right there with you. Whoever grew up watching that, the whole great movie, great soundtrack, but there's that one scene in
We're
particular.
all traumatized.
I mean, we're talking right there with Roger Rabbit and the shoe and the dip. That's the same level of traumatizing. The early 80s traumatized kids video pack. There you go.
Never Ending Story.
Story.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? I would throw Land Before Time in there.
Yes,
The Death of
that was
Lily's
one
Mother.
of the other ones. There, yep. That one was there, and there was one other because there were 4. And Land Before Time, the
All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Story. That's the other one. Yes.
Yes. All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Heaven.
Yep.
Yes.
There you go. There's your 80s childhood trauma variety pack.
In a nutshell. Yep.
Yep.
Watch at your own discretion. Yeah. I could see what they were doing with Argyle, and it's a bit cliche.
Yeah.
But there are several times where they do things that are very tropey and or cliche, and I would start to get frustrated, but then I'd be like, no, this is set in the 80s. This is the era of where a lot of these cliches came from.
Yeah.
So we're getting the origin for a lot of these tropes. So you've got like the stoner who
just like everyone trying to find where Ricky the Reefer is.
Yeah. It's like,
and they look up his video rental account.
who keeps checking out Cheech and Chong? There you go. Exactly. So you have someone like Argyle who, seems to be just this lazy stoner that, he doesn't seem to have any aspirations beyond just delivering pizza. So people don't take him seriously until we get to some of these situations where
he drops
obviously using illicit substances have an effect. Your mileage may vary depending on who you are. But there are people, I can't speak from personal experience, but I know of people that have utilized substances that they claim have given them new perspective and new ways of looking at things. And that's what we get with Argyle. People want to write him off as just this kind of dumb stoner, but it's like, no, you realize that he's actually paying attention. He's looking at things and taking information in. And once he reaches a conclusion, he's damn near genius.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're not laughing him off. They're just like, wait a minute. He's actually got a point here.
So, don't be writing people off just because they're not, traditional or, fit the norm. So, it's like when they're needing to make the sensory deprivation tank for Elle.
Yep,
and they're like, we need salt. And he's like, well, 600 pounds of salt gonna work. And they're like, where the hell are you gonna get 600 pounds of salt? At the pizza restaurant.
My place of employment, please follow.
Exactly. So
I mean, big walk-in freezer. What more could you ask for?
Exactly. So, you just goes to show, do not judge a book by its cover.
Exactly.
That's a thread I think that runs through this entire series.
Yep.
And also,
as well.
And also, do not judge a younger sibling by their elder sibling.
That too.
Them having to look for a replacement for Hellfire Knight.
Mm-hmm.
and Eddie's just like, Sinclair's sister. I'm Lady Applejack, level 14 chaotic good half-elf rogue, poison silk kukri. Because he had mentioned like level 1 dwarf.
I love Erica.
Me too.
And I think Lady Applejack would get along quite well with Blackwater Betty in her.
I think so. I think Lady Applejack would fit into our little motley D&D crew very well.
Yes.
She can go down the well the next time.
Yes, exactly. With those poison silk kukris, give him a warm stabby hug, please.
I gotta say, it was kind of bit to have to wait so long for Stranger Things to come back, but because it took so long and we got to play D&D in between, stuff makes way more sense now.
Right?
Exactly.
But I was thinking,
as soon as Vecna came up, I'm like, okay, yep, Jared mentioned that, and then me going on my Critical Role deep dive and other D&D podcasts, it's like, okay, there's this, there's that. Okay, this is making sense here.
Although they are playing with the real like the edition releases, because Vecna is not a more fully fleshed out character in D&D until the 90s.
Right, because the intro for him is only like 2 paragraphs.
Yeah. And it's not really him, it's like the eye of Vecna.
Right.
It's like Rassilon,
Exactly.
You get
Everything on Rassilon.
Bits and pieces before you get the full on Rassilon.
Yes. Yeah, Vecna's of the same build.
Yeah. But again, it's okay. I will let them have that. So.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I'm such a D&D noob that I would not know any better if I didn't dive into the weeds.
Exactly. So. It's fun diving into those weeds sometimes. It's like,
yes,
fill this that.
Yeah. So we've got the buyers and 11 in California trying to do their thing, and then Joyce finds out that Hopper's potentially still alive, so she and
lovely package
Murray of all people get to go on an adventure to Russia.
Yes.
Who knew Murray was going to be the one to come save the day?
No,
who called that? Not I.
Not I. Yeah, whoever had that on their bingo sheet, you win double.
Yeah. This is like Scrabble. You get a triple word score there for that. If you call Murray being the savior.
Oh, and of course we get the mention to the Italian restaurant.
Yes, that date that he and Joyce have not get to go on yet.
Because Murray's is like, how do we know about this? It's like, that's the only thing Hopper and I know. Not many people know that we were supposed to have this date. And so it has to be him.
And I love that Hopper is like, I've been dreaming about the breadsticks the entire time I've been in captivity.
She's like, that's the only thing you've been dreaming about?
I mean, have you ever had, I can't speak for Enzo's, but have you ever had a Fazoli's breadstick?
Fazoli's stick? You would dream about those. Oh, heck yes.
Yeah. Exactly. And then the whole Russia, the whole Russia thing was just like, it's
there.
It's there. It's a thing that happened. It was just like, look, David Harbour's in Russia again.
Yeah.
No. I like how they like. I think it worked out well that, because unlike other folks in the MCU, like Chris Pratt, who was still doing Parks and Rec when he became Star-Lord, and then suddenly got all ripped, and they had to explain it in Parks and Rec and in the Parks and Rec universe. And he's like, "Yeah, just stop drinking beer." Yeah, and all of a sudden he's got 12 pack. Yeah. At least with David Harbour, his character in Black Widow was kind of fat to begin with, and not necessarily ripped. So if David Harbour still kind of had a dad bod, and they could just cover him in all of those scars from constantly being whipped by the Russians, then that it was a lot. I think it was I imagine it was easier for them to be like, if Hopper has one shirtless scene, but he's covered in these scars, and we're if he's not necessarily in the best of shape, it's easily explained. Unlike if he had been covered in scars but also ripped, because his if he had to get super ripped for Black Widow, that would have been a little weird, I think.
Yeah.
So, but apparently he shaved his head after doing Black Widow to help differentiate.
Yeah.
I don't think the necessarily the hair on your head is going to confuse people, David, but yeah, whatever, you do you, boo-boo.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We'll still be looking for Yelena and Natasha for you.
Yep, exactly. So, but we get some really nice character development with Hopper being so,
and a lot more backstory finding out.
Geographically isolated from everybody else, so it gives him a chance to do some monologuing and fill in some information for us, because it's we knew he was married, he had a daughter, the daughter died, it caused his marriage to fall apart. He threw himself into being sheriff, and then obviously Levin comes along and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. It turns out that he was part of the Agent Orange experiments, and
that stuff is nasty from what I've
if you know anything about your tactics of American warfare, he did some really nasty things.
Well, and come to find out,
in the name of defeating the enemy, but it ended up hurting ourselves in the process.
There just wasn't Agent Orange. There was a couple other different colors too, because I can remember one of the classes I sat in, we had some Vietnam vets come in and talk, and I'm just if you had any relatives who served, if they worked with these other different Asian colors too, they need to get checked out, because they had been hearing of medical issues coming up, and this is oh crud.
Yeah.
In the name of protection.
Yeah. So, but then he gets rescued.
Yes.
Again, thanks to Murray.
Yeah.
Although Joyce, she's she may not have the physical prowess, but she's got some smarts.
Yeah.
For she's learned quite a lot.
Yeah. Yuri can't hear very well. And I completely forgot that back in the 80s we had glass jars of peanut butter.
Yeah, I did find that kind of funny that like this guy has made his living smuggling American peanut butter into Russia.
Yes.
And it's Jif of all things.
All things. I can charge $20 or more a bottle. It's like, wow.
Like 40-ish years later, yeah, there's not gonna be any Jif on the shelves anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
But I did find that kind of funny. I'm like, wait a minute, I just returned like 4 jars of Jif to the grocery store because of the recall.
Yeah.
And the damn Demogorgons.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, at least Hopper was smart enough to realize what was going on. It's like, I'm not eating a thing.
Yeah. Like, I eat nothing. I'm gonna steal whatever weaponry I can get my little hands on, and bada bing, bada boom.
Yep.
Demogorgon go up in flames.
I like that the Russian god that befriended Hopper. I was really worried that he was gonna die. Like I was like, oh no,
yeah,
oh no. That happens a lot.
You know, not the first time that they befriended a Russian and not had it go well. So
yeah,
that is definitely true.
Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying. But for now, we're okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we've got the crew that stays behind in California when Joyce and Murray go off, with Mike, who has come out to California to visit 11 because it's spring break, and he ends up teaming up with Will and Jonathan and Argyle to go and try to save 11 after she's abducted by the people in black, because that's what the government and the military like to do, because they're like somehow convinced that she's the one killing these kids in Hawkins from thousands of miles away. I think they really just wanted a reason to abduct her, personally.
Yep. And then I mean, at least Paul Reiser's character survived.
Yes, Paul is back. Glad to see him back, and it's nice that he is not he's not just being a suit,
right,
you know, for the government or the military. He genuinely cares about 11 and what happens to her, because unlike Papa, who tries to act all father figure like, he's just a psychopath.
Right.
Yes. Paul Reiser is more of a father figure than Papa is, even when they're in the lab. So
Papa's working his own angles for his own self, while Paul Reiser's just like, nope, I'm doing it for her. Her well-being, her protection.
Yes. And also aware of... Oh, no, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask, do we remember what happened to him? Like, what happened to him at the end?
They found him handcuffed to a thing. So
he's still
okay, that was the last bit. I couldn't remember if that was like the last bit that we saw him or not.
Yeah. So presumably the military will take him and try to use him, probably. Would be my guess. So, I can't imagine they'd leave him there to rot. So not with what he knows. So
I guess that's true.
Yeah, especially now that Papa's dead. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I did not feel bad when he started getting shot. Ow.
Right?
Good riddance. You psychopathic, crazy, mad scientist, you. Yeah. But at least he did help 11 get her powers back, which and then some. Like she's even more powerful than when she was before, which is good. But yeah, while 11's on her little journey trying to get her powers back, some folks from Russia, Mike and Argyle and the rest of the crew are trying to save 11, going from California via Utah to go use Susie's computer hacking powers to Nevada, which you can call the phone number, the Nina phone number, and you will just get like the modem sounds.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I know if you call the Softball Boys Pizza, whatever it's called, you get Argyle talking to you.
Yeah. So there's several phone numbers that you can actually call and get something, some sort of experience. So I love when they do that, though. The shows, instead of just doing the 555, which is not a valid number anywhere, they will actually give legit phone numbers and then set up something so that people can call. I think that's so cool.
Little in real life egg.
Yep. Oh. But we need to talk about the crew that's still in Hawkins.
Yes.
So at Hawkins, we have Dustin, Max, Lucas, who are now in high school. Because the kids are growing up very fast, the actors. So
yes.
Of course, being in high school now means a whole other mess of things. And then you've got Steve and Robin, BFFs, to the end, now working at Family Video instead of...
Yes.
I don't know if they just didn't bother to rebuild Scoops Ahoy when the mall got destroyed.
Well, it was just like a summer thing, like, yeah, we'll do it with the summer.
Maybe. So, but yeah, you got Steve and Robin now working at Family Video, which I have a Family Video storefront that's still standing. It's empty, but it still has a sign out front. It's just nobody has bothered to, buy the property and change it into something else. But it is kind of funny.
There's a couple of Family Videos that we have been bought out by like a Dollar General, and stuff has gone in there.
It is kind of funny to drive by and see the sign though and be like, Steve, Robin, you in?
Yeah.
So that's a strong BFF relationship there. You've got Nancy, who is now getting ready to go to college. She and Jonathan are supposed to be are still in a relationship, supposedly supposed to be going off to college together, but we find out Jonathan didn't get accepted. Not that he's bothered to tell Nancy that.
Nope.
And
I have to, I was giggling because Jonathan explains it to Argyle, and Argyle's just like, I don't even have a girlfriend, and she's already stressing me out. I'm stressed enough about this relationship, and I'm not in it. I was like, right there with you, Argyle.
Yeah.
Right there with you.
Yeah. So, the Nancy's working for the school paper, so she's still doing the almost Nancy Drew-esque thing. Yes. and Dustin and is still very much a nerd. And Lucas still wants to be a nerd, but also wants to be cool.
Yeah, he's in that weird, like...
He joins the basketball team and gets to ride the bench the entire time until
the final game.
Till the final game where he gets to, like, his Rudy moments.
Which, of course, happens to fall on D&D night.
Exactly. Thank goodness his sister is a hot shot and can roll a nat 20 when the chips are down. I was like, you go, Lady Applejack.
Yes. Because, I mean, with them trying to, it's like, well, maybe we can talk to Eddie and maybe we can get him to reschedule. And just Eddie, intimidation roll was, that was the net. Like, find somebody.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But our like, of the Hawkins crew, it's Max who absolutely kills it. Sadie Sink absolutely kills it in this season, especially episode 4, Dear Billy, where she has been marked by Vecna because she's got some serious guilt. She's got survivor's guilt because of what happened to Billy in the previous season. So she's been marked by Vecna.
You could even think possibly Billy was marked by Vecna too, so there's probably that connection as well with the survivor's guilt.
It is.
I mean, that's a quasi-working theory I have, along with one other. That we'll get to.
And then I think for the most part, everybody's new favorite character or favorite new character, Eddie Munson, leader of the Hellfire Club.
Yes.
DM, GM extraordinaire, pot dealer, does not give a crap what other people think.
A guy with a heart of gold, even though he has a reputation.
Guy with a heart of gold and killer on guitar.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah. And unfortunate victim of what we discussed
in Vecna.
Yeah. Unfortunate victim of Vecna, but also the circumstances even before the deaths started occurring, even before Chris's death. And the rest of the Hellfire Club were frowned upon because this is the 80s. And if you remember, when we talked about Mazes and Monsters, we talked about the satanic panic that occurred in the 80s. And this is right in the middle of it.
Yep.
So even before the killings, people were so there were people that were convinced that Eddie and the other D&D players, it was a cult. And they weren't just playing a board game, that they were calling up the devil himself. The whole satanic panic is just, it's so dumb. But like I said, we talked about, go listen to our dungeon or our Mazes and Monsters episode, because we go into at least some of the history of the satanic panic. You can hear about that. Even if you don't want to hear about the movie, we talk about the history first, so you can just listen to that and stop if you don't care about the movie review.
Now, whose parents' house did they crash at?
When
with Holly and the light bright and
that one the Wheelos.
That's Nancy's house.
Nancy's house. Okay, yeah. Nancy. Yeah. I mean, I love the mom.
There's a little there, because Mike is out in California visiting 11, so there's a little extra room at the moment.
And the dad's is like, take us for whatever you're worth. And then Dustin's like, oh, sure. I mean, he's just Gus is just like, yeah, I know he's being sarcastic. I'm just gonna lay it right back at him. And, and the dad's like, why isn't the FBI being called? And I'm just like, oh yeah, you could call the FBI, but they aren't gonna do much. There's no Mulder and Scully at this point in time.
Yeah.
About 20 years too early.
Yeah.
Or 10 years too early.
At least. Yeah. So poor Nancy's house just kind of becomes like
Grand Central Station.
Grand Central Station, much to Nancy's father's chagrin. Like, where's that Midwestern hospitality there, Mr. Wheeler? Any other Midwestern person's house I'd go into, at least, well, maybe because he's the dad and not the mom, would be like, oh, you kids hungry? Here, let me make you 5-course meal. Here's the entire snack aisle from the grocery store on the counter. Help yourselves.
Furnished basement is yours. We haven't seen ya.
Have fun. Yeah. But yeah, the light bright was fun. Like I was saying, we were talking, I think, before last week's episode. It was like, I had a light bright back in the day, and I was fortunate that my childhood closet had a really nice shelf that was just the right height and had access to an outlet.
Yep.
That I could plug my light right in and shut the door and be in pitch black so that I got maximum brightness from the light bright.
And I was scrolling through Amazon. They re-released the light bright with some Stranger Things stuff. It's so tempting for $20. Just like, ooh, nostalgia.
Yeah. And of course, Erica, once she gets involved, she stays involved.
Yes.
But it's not like you need to like get her up to speed, because she was part of stuff. I mean, she was crawling through the air decks last season
with Dustin. Yes.
Yeah. She's been here, done that, got the t-shirt. So she's like, I'm involved. She's involved. They're no talking down.
Yeah,
talking her down.
What else is new?
Yeah. So when they all need to go to the weapon shop, she's filling up the cart just like the rest of them. And in the 80s, nobody would think about someone her age just roaming around picking up knives and things of paint thinner. I was too young in the 80s in Indiana to really know what it was like. I'm just gonna guess that was just normal.
Yeah, I'm guessing. Yeah, because around this time I would have been.
I was 3 when this is set, so yeah.
I was like maybe 5 or 6 when this was set. That opening scene in the first episode with 11 happened the day after I was born.
Oh no.
September 8th, 1979. Great, I was a day old. Lovely.
Yeah. Well, you weren't in Indiana either, so yeah.
Well, but still not that far away.
Yeah. Like, I don't even think my parents had met yet at that point, so I wasn't even a twinkle in anybody's eye yet.
I wasn't a twinkle eye when the show was the setting.
Yeah.
Still quite a few years before I was born.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just like some of the stuff I'm like, yeah, that tracks for Indiana even now. But some of it I can't speak for back in the day, especially where Hawkins is supposed to be located, which is in kind of the southern, not really far southern Indiana, but presumably based on what geographical information they've given us, it's going to be somewhere between Indianapolis and like Bloomington. So my guess is that it'd probably be like the Mooresville, Martinsville area, which I know those areas now. My guess is back in the 80s, yeah, they were probably very similar to Hawkins. So again, that tracks. If there's anyone out there listening that is from that area that has pictures or remembers what that kind of part of the state was like in the mid 80s, please let us know how accurate it is. Yeah, giant earthquake creating a crater in the middle of the town, notwithstanding.
I mean, that's
although we
accurate.
We do occasionally get earthquakes, and it tends to be the southern part of the state that feels it. They are once in a blue moon, because the fault line that is closest to us is not very active and is not very large. But there is a fault line that, under the right circumstances, we do occasionally get an earthquake. I've never actually felt one, even though it has reached up to where I live. So I guess that's a good thing. I feel kind of left out. At the same time, it's probably a good thing. It's bad enough I have to deal with tornadoes. But
not gonna lie, you saying you felt left out the same, because there was a time, there's been like a few times where we've had like earthquakes here in New Jersey, and there was one time when I was at my job, like some of the people felt it, but like the rest of us didn't. We were like all confused, like how does this work out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but as far as I know, we've never had an earthquake that, cracks open an entire town. So yeah, the Hawkins crew have their hands full, because Chrissy, the cheerleader, dating the captain of the basketball team, which Lucas is on, dies under really weird circumstances. He happens to be at Eddie Munson's place when it occurs. So, of course, Eddie is immediately thought to be the perpetrator, and he used some sort of like satanic ritual from the Hellfire Club to do it. And then that one kid that went with Nancy dies. It turns out that he caused a fatal car accident, never reported it, so he's got that guilt. And then one of the other guys on the basketball team, which, did they ever tell us what did they ever show like what his guilt was? I don't remember.
No, I remember Lucas saying something about he would come in to practice with bruises, but that's it. I don't think they ever said or shown what.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, I don't remember them actually showing him what was on his conscience. So and then of course Max, because Vecna needs 4 victims to open 4 gates into the Upside Down so that he can release his vengeance into Hawkins and then the rest of the world. And Max is supposed to be his final victim. But of course, her friends are not going to let her be a victim that easily, if they can help it. So, and somewhere Kate Bush is counting money.
Yep.
So, yeah, that song is when it was originally released in 1985, It reached number 3 on the UK singles chart because Kate Bush is British, hence her song being used during the opening ceremonies of the 2012 London Olympics. It reached number 30 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US. So it was her first top 40 hit in the US. But now that it's had this, it got a bit of a resurgence after being used in the Olympics. It was the closing ceremony. Sorry, not the opening ceremony, closing ceremony. But when it was used in the Olympics, it re-entered the UK top 10 for a week at number 6. So that was good. And now that it's being used again, within a week of it appearing in Stranger Things, it has reached the top 5 in the Billboard Hot 100 and topping the charts in 8 other countries, including hitting number 1 in the UK for 3 weeks. So, yeah. It's, not bad for a song that's almost 40 years old. So.
And I had heard that one previously because I play song pop, and every now and again in the 80s, the Running Up the Hill and Her Wuthering Heights would be a couple of the music choices. So it's like, okay. I was like, I know that. That's Kate Bush. Even before it came up on the closed captioning.
Yeah. So, but that's like Max's go to keep her. At first, it's her way of isolating herself because she doesn't want to. Of course, she doesn't want to talk about what happened to Billy. But then when they realize music is important to protect people from Vecna, it becomes her literal tether back to reality, which saves her the first time. Unfortunately, it does not do so well the second time, although technically she's still alive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Her body is still alive.
Right, yeah.
Mentally, Max is kind of lost because Elle can't find her.
Right.
In the mental sphere. But yeah, so Kate Bush having this nice resurgence thanks to Max. And then I wouldn't necessarily call it a resurgence because it's never really gone away, but thanks to Eddie and their Team Hawkins plan to try to kill Vecna inside the Upside Down, they need a distraction, and Eddie and Dustin are like, well, we can do that. So Eddie becomes the badass guitarist that he is, busting out Metallica's Master of Puppets.
Yes.
Which I had seen just shots of Eddie on top of the trailer with the guitar. And I was like, ooh, that's going to be a really cool moment whenever that happens. And then when we get to it and he's got the guitar and I'm like, are we going to do Metallica? It seems like it would be a Metallica moment.
Moment. Yes.
And then it starts, I'm like, yeah, Metallica.
And good on the boys of Metallica to knocking down the gatekeepers right away. It's just like any new Metallica fan is welcome no matter when they join, what song. We got a wealth. Come on in, guys. I'm just like,
well, and especially like you can't like gatekeep, new fans that are being brought in by this particular song.
Exactly.
Considering this song, specifically Master of Puppets, by the Metallica fans themselves over the pandemic, Metallica, their people did a like bracket essentially, kind of like the NCAA of the greatest Metallica song of all time. This one.
Right. Wow.
And I could have told you that when the bracket started. I was like,
right.
Master of Puppets is going to win this tournament of songs, or I will eat my hat.
Right.
Because I've
and for good reason.
Anytime I talk about seeing Metallica live, whether it's we're just talking to friends, I've been on set listing Bruce twice talking Metallica, Master of Puppets, doesn't matter when, where, who, where we are in the set list. The minute that song starts, the audience loses their shit over this song.
Everybody loses the collective.
This song is just, it does something to the fan.
Yeah. There's there's a internal switch that gets flipped. It's just it's kind of like at a Bon Jovi concert when Wanted Dead or Alive or Living on a Prayer happens. I think it's more so for Wanted Dead or Alive, because every single time I saw them in concert, John would say, "Please rise for our national anthem," and it would be Wanted Dead or Alive. So basically, it's kind of the same thing.
Yep. Yeah. So the minute that very first chord hits, just minds collectively lost. So
it's just like, and Justin, we agree with you. Most metal ever. Yes. Bar none.
Yeah. Granted, they did cut out the bridge, but that makes sense because the bridge is slower. And the whole point was to be frantic and fast to get these bat things' attention. So it totally makes sense that they would cut out the slow bit, but still, yes, because Master of Puppets, it is very frantic. The guitar playing is sick. As much as I'm like, I don't get the losing the collective minds. I get it as far as like musicianship is concerned.
Yes.
You've got to give it to the guy playing Eddie.
Joe. Joe, I can't remember what his last name is, but it's
Kiri. No,
Kiri,
that's
Kiri,
Steve.
Yeah.
No, that's the guy playing Steve. Yes. Crap. What's his name?
We're heading into the Marvel verse with all the.
Joseph. There we go. Joseph Quinn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank
Plays
you.
Eddie. Yeah, because he is a guitar player. So this isn't like
you can see the behind the scenes.
Yeah, he went into it not a novice. He's played guitar. He knows how to play. They still had some assistance as far as teaching him how to play this particular song and doing it correctly from Ty Trujillo, who is Rob Trujillo. Rob Trujillo is the bassist in Metallica. His son was brought in to help with this particular moment. So it was totally done with the blessing of Metallica. Like I said, one of their sons came in to work with them. So, which was the case also with the remix of Separate Ways. Steve Perry of Journey actually helped them do the remix, because this is their version. The Stranger Things version is actually what he originally wanted the song to sound like, but the technology did not exist yet.
Cool. That's awesome to know.
Yeah.
And I also love the Metallica boys repping and kind of playing along with scenes from Eddie doing his thrashing, but in the Hellfire Club.
Yes.
T-shirts.
If you on Metallica's TikTok. Yeah, you got the guys all playing Master of Puppets, but they all have the Hellfire Club shirt on. So, and then they posted like
Welcome
a clip
to the
from
club,
a recent.
boys.
Yeah, they've posted a clip of from one of the recent shows. They're like, "Hey, heard any good songs recently?" You know. So yeah, they're taking it and totally running with it. So
yes. As they should.
Yeah. Which unfortunately, as badass as that moment was, it did not do Eddie any favors, because Eddie, as much as people are in denial, the Duffer Brothers have said Eddie is dead.
Yes. I'm kind of calling. I'm kind of in a denial. I'm kind of calling BS on that, because
have they ever beat BS on us before though?
I can't remember, but with this one, here's my theory. Here's why I'm saying it's probably BS, because I've done some Vecna research. Vecna has a right-hand man by the name of Cass. They can jump bodies. Cass betrays Vecna and gets rid of him. Dustin said he died. We didn't see a body. So I'm thinking maybe Eddie's still alive is going to help take
him die while Dustin was there.
True. But
I mean, Dustin was there, literally there, leaning over his body, watching Eddie die.
But then I'm calling in another D&D thing with, remember, there's the resurrection spells. So much time goes by, you can bring a body back. That's my theory.
But do we really want that?
Denial.
Yeah,
I know. I would love it,
because possession in general has not done really well. Because I mean, that's essentially what happened to Billy, and that didn't turn out well.
True.
So
no. Yeah, it's just I'm hoping, and then he gets a nice send off, and then he can.
Well, and that's the thing, is like he was so, he would become such an outcast in Hawkins that it wouldn't do him any favors.
No,
to bring him back.
The whole town basically still thinks he killed everybody. Killed people.
And it's just
he's better off.
Some vindication for it, though. Yeah, that he didn't kill those people.
Yeah, I mean, the only the people that matter know what he actually did, including his uncle, because Dustin told him. So the people that matter know that he was not a killer. He died helping save Hawkins. So
Hawkins doesn't deserve him.
Exactly.
Exactly.
As much as I hate to see him gone, he's better off.
Yes.
Than coming back, especially if he's not himself, because then that's just gonna feed more into the paranoia that he's like this demon worshiper, because then people are gonna be like, oh, he worships the devil and now he's possessed, so
yeah,
and we'll always have Master of Puppets, so
true.
Exactly.
But I mean, it does suck, because I know Eddie became a favorite for a lot of people, and going into the final 2 episodes, they're like, theorizing who's gonna live, who's gonna die, and they're like, if Eddie dies, we riot at dawn, type of thing. So,
I'm wondering if the Duffer Brothers didn't, think that, oh, hey, Eddie might gain some traction.
Yeah, sometimes you never know. Sometimes you never know how characters, how people are going to cling on to certain characters. So,
there's been plenty of times in Stranger Things of characters like I didn't think I was going to like that much, and they've grown to be like some of my favorite characters. And Eddie actually was one. Like, I wasn't sure if I was going to like him at first, and then like really quick, I'm like, okay, actually, I do like him. You need to protect him, and
but now everybody's got their hands full. You know,
Yep.
those that did survive, thankfully, are reconnected in Hawkins. You know, Hopper's back. Although, where was Murray in this nice reunion that they had at Hopper's cabin? Where like we get these great reunions. It's like, oh yeah, Hopper and 11 back together, and everybody, it's alive and all these things. It was like, where's Murray? Why was Murray left out of the great reunion at the end there?
Probably maybe shopping with Yuri, trying to get more peanut butter. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think like trying to settle the Russian thing, because I think Yuri in I like him, but I can't remember his name. The ex-guard, I think maybe trying to get him.
The ex-prison guard, yeah. I can't remember. Anatov or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. But it was like, yay, everybody's together. Wait a minute, where's Murray?
Or maybe he was going to the 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee.
Maybe.
I without him for a while.
He's going to introduce Yuri and Antov to Slurpees.
Yep.
Could be.
Yes, season 3 callback.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah. So, but now the rift essentially has opened. The Upside Down is exposed to the real world, and the real world is starting to disintegrate. And I thought it was okay. Did anybody else have a callback to David Tennant's first episode when it starts snowing and like Nancy's little sister is like, oh, it's snowing.
Yeah.
And people, and I'm like, yeah, girl, that's not snow, that is ash.
Snow. That's ash. Yeah.
Yep.
That's ash.
I was having a little flashback to David Tennant's first episode as Doctor.
I'm just like
that's not snow, people.
No,
it's
spring. That is not
granted, spring break in Indiana, it can snow.
Same in Wisconsin, but
it has.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah,
we had snow well into April this year, so so
yeah.
So I'm just saying, if actual snow, not that unheard of, but in this case, it is not snow.
No.
But
my sweet summer child, that spells
trouble.
Doom. Trouble.
Yeah, that is
trouble with the capital V.
Yeah. Bad.
And it just makes me wonder how we are going to wrap this up in season 5. I mean,
well, supposedly we're supposed to get a time jump.
Okay, which makes sense.
I mean, does that just mean that this rift is going to be open that entire time and there's just going to be long-term effects?
And we get flashbacks, or this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, and we're not, supposedly it's going to be 2024.
Yeah.
When we finally get the final season.
Well,
isn't that far away when you think about it? I mean, we're less than 6 months away to 2023. So
true, but still.
Yeah.
So my brain broke for a second when you said 2024. I'm like, wait, that's a time jump? Like, no, wait, you're talking about when it's going to actually air here. I'm like,
when it's going to air.
That makes more sense.
Yes. Supposedly the time jump is going to, supposedly the time jump is going to be 10 years.
Oh.
So we're going to be in 96? Oh, boy.
Yeah. Supposedly.
95,
hey, I'll actually be alive finally.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we necessarily,
but I'll be alive.
I mean, I don't know if we necessarily need to go 10 years. I mean, the kids in the cast are
getting older. Yes.
Millie Bobby Brown is now 18. I'm sure most of the cast is in this, they're about the same age as her, so 18 or very close to it. So, but I don't know if they necessarily, I don't know if 10 years makes sense. A few years, yes, but
I mean, I could see like 5.
yeah, and then they would look appropriately aged, I think. But 10 years if they're going to start filming in the next year or so might be a bit much. Then we're starting to get into like Harry Potter the 19 years later, and that's just
right.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, but that's my opinion, and like I said, that's just what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
So there's been nothing from the Duffer Brothers as far as I know that they've said.
This is more like rumors.
This is mostly just rumors. So, but we'll
and maybe
see.
this time jump, like you mentioned, like Harry Potter. Maybe this time jump is at the end, and it's like a prologue, epilogue.
That could be. That is a possibility too. So, I guess we'll wait and see. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But until then, we've got these 9 episodes plus all the what came before. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been wanting to do a rewatch, and like when they did the flashbacks at the few flashbacks they did at times, like, oh my goodness, it was so young back then.
Yeah,
like in the first season, like they were babies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they did a really good job of putting young Millie Bobby Brown's face on the body of young 11 when she's going through her memories, because obviously I don't think they would have known they were going to be doing that way back when they started filming the entire series, so that it's not like they filmed that stuff when Millie Bobby Brown was that young. So they I would assume they probably did a body double and then took, using the footage they have of her when she was that age, and then some jiggery pokery with CGI to put 11-year-old Millie Bobby Brown, or however old she was, on this younger body, so it looks like baby-faced 11. So, and it looks really good. It was very convincing. So I will definitely give them that. The special effects and the music are so well done.
Yes.
The sound design is just it's great. I mean, there's as much as it homages so many things, they do such a good job about making Stranger Things feel really unique.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in a genre that, like I was saying, some of the franchises, it's gotten to the point where it's kind of hard to take them seriously. I watched Halloween Kills at Halloween, and I've only ever seen like the first Halloween movie. So I hadn't seen like the whatever the Halloween that came before that, that's like set now with Jamie Lee Curtis now.
I think I Halloween H20.
No, that was like the 20th anniversary. So I think it was just Halloween. Okay. I think they just called it Halloween.
Okay.
So, but like I haven't seen like hardly any of the Halloween franchise, but I know enough to be able to watch Halloween Kills, and actually I was bored by it because it was just so predictable. Because they just take these tropes and they just do them over and over and over and over and over and over again. So it's just like, really? So like I said, there were a few times during this season where they would do something that came off as tropey to me, but I was kind of able to forgive it because I'm like, no, because this This is set during the time period where these tropes wouldn't have been tropes. They were brand new things, brand new ideas as far as storytelling. So it's like I can forgive them for leaning into some tropes. But I'm glad that they're not like relying too much on the stuff that you come to expect from like the horror type things. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. And in fact, it's gotten to the point where Chauncey's like, because like when Stranger Things first started, Chauncey watched it, and I was like, he was like, you need to watch this. I'm like, yeah, I'll get to it eventually, whatever. And then I finally watched it, and then I've continued to watch it, and he stopped, and now he's feeling FOMO. So
you might have to show him the highlights of season 2 and season 3. And
no, he's just gonna. Yeah, in fact, he's like, yeah, I'm just pretty much gonna start over because it's been so long.
That's even better, because then everything will click more.
Yeah, because he hasn't watched it since it first started, so which means he has not watched season 1 since it was a brand new thing.
Oh wow, yeah.
So it's really, really rusty for him. So he's like, yeah, I'm probably just gonna start over from scratch. I'm like, that's probably like he knows about the Metallica thing,
right?
Yeah, being the Metallica fan that he is, and of course Metallica's talking about it on social media. So, but he doesn't know the context or anything. So
right,
it's not the end of the world if people are like, oh my god, spoilers. I'm like, yeah, no. By the time he gets around to watching this particular season, he's just going to be like, oh yeah, Metallica. So it'll just be a pleasant reminder that this is a thing that he gets to hear. So yes. But it is kind of funny because he was just like, he was so insistent that I needed to watch it when it first started. and now he's like, FOMO. So it's kind of funny. So now we wait, as Brittany said in the chat after she finally got caught up. She's like, and the waiting begins.
Yep. Thank heavens we have other stuff to watch, but it's just like after watching it, like, I want season 5 now.
Yeah. Like, I want more, but at the same time, it's like, I still need to go watch it. Only guys. Murders in the Building.
Yeah. Yes, that's true. Yes, that's true too.
I'm kind of like, I can't wait for season 5, but I'm also like, it's one of those like, but that means it's the end.
Yeah, that also it's going to be the final season. So yeah, that does kind of bite as well.
Yeah, well, those side projects that they're talking about doing with Netflix sound interesting too.
I was gonna say that they have hints that they're like doing other things within the Stranger Things universe, so that could be interesting.
There's like supposedly there's going to be a stage play, and then they're going to do some other animated cartoon series that's not Stranger Things related. It deals with Death Note, from what I heard. But I wouldn't mind an animated, Stranger Things tie-in of some sort.
Or do one of those weird crossovers like Scooby Natural.
Oh yes, yes,
that was fun.
That would be awesome. Yes.
Where's our Stranger Things and Scooby Doo crossover?
Yeah. Heck, or later on, Stranger Things Supernatural. That would have been something.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're supposed to get that Winchester spinoff, so
yeah. So who knows?
Ask ye may shall receive it.
Yes.
Wait, wouldn't the Winchester brothers be about the same age as the kids?
I
right?
think
about.
The Stranger Things guys might be a little bit older by about 10 years on the boys, but not by much. Because I think Dean was born in 78 or 79, if memory serves. And then
right.
Sammy was 82 or 83.
So they would be younger than the kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. My math was not correct.
But that doesn't mean that Daddy Winchester couldn't make an appearance somewhere.
Exactly. Yes.
Oh, Mommy.
Yeah.
Or Mommy. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Family business.
Mm-hmm. Kansas isn't that far away from Indiana, and if Mommy was hunting.
It's true.
Yeah, any fanfic writers, feel free to take those ideas and run with them.
I'm sure somebody probably has, actually. I'm sure somebody's figured out a way to do it.
I just haven't found it yet.
Yeah.
Oh no, I was just thinking like the 80s, like it'd be Daddy Ventures are bringing like young boys to Indiana, and Steve would have to be the babysitter. Okay.
I'm always the babysitter.
It's because you're such a good babysitter.
Steve. Honestly,
you're a victim of your own prowess.
Yeah. Just give Dean some time. He'll be happy.
If you weren't so good at it, people wouldn't ask you to do it.
Right? Yes.
All right. Any other thoughts?
Oh, so good. And can't wait for season 5.
Yep. Good times. All right. Well, if any of our listeners want to give their 2 cents on Stranger Things, you can send us feedback. You can email us 5ishfangirls@gmail.com, or you can go to our website, which is the 5ishfangirls.com, where you can connect with all of our other ways you can contact us, all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. And then of course there is the Doctor Who Goodreads book club. Link for that is on the website, so you can go join in our discussions for various Doctor Who books and or Big Finish. And then if you would like to financially support us, you could do that a number of ways. If you want to become a regular financial supporter, you could do that via Patreon. If you want to make just a one-time monetary donation, you could do that via Ko-fi. Or if you would like to get something in return, we do have merch on Redbubble. So we appreciate all of your support, whether it's monetary, thumbs up, retweets, all that fun stuff. We appreciate it greatly. So, and going forward, we are going to stick to the MCU for the next few weeks. So, a certain Miss Marvel is having her season finale this week.
Mm-hmm.
We shall be talking her on it next episode, and then be talking about Thor Love and Thunder the week after that. So if you want to do homework, there you go.
Yes.
Yep. So, all right. Well, for now, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Bevita saying goodnight.
This is Sally from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. A little hint. If someone asks you to sit, if like a group of friends are like, hey, let's get together and watch Stranger Things, and someone offers a drinking game, and one of those options is take a drink every time Dustin says shit, make sure you're only drinking water.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just saying.
No kidding.
You will be on the
Yeah.
floor before episode 1 is done.
Yes.
You have been listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefivishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Five-ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.